Winter is on the way, so what we're going to do today is protect the undercarriage of this vehicle because look at this. This is like brand new suspension. It's only been like 3 years, and this is in northern Arizona. Like, we don't get a ton of snow, and they only salt a few roads, but this thing is getting trashed. Like, yeah, and it's probably just mostly surface rust, but still. So I am going to coat this chassis, and I'll show you the whole process on how to do that to protect your vehicle from Mother Nature. So I'm going to put down a product called Surface Shield, I think it's called, by PB Blaster, and I'm going to show you how to do that. First thing I need to do though is pressure wash the chassis, get as much dirt and grime as I can out of here before we apply the undercoating. So I've got most of the skids off. I've got, I think, 4 out of the 6 skid plates. I'm not going to mess with the transfer case or fuel tank skid. But yeah, let's clean this thing off. Well, managed to get some dirt off. Now we can apply the undercoating. All right, now that the chassis is as clean as it's going to get, it's time to get spraying, and this is what I chose to do the job. I just went online, did a bunch of research, and I almost went with fluid film. It's been around for a long time. Plenty of people have used it, but after doing much more reading, I kept coming back to Surface Shield, which is made by PB Blaster, and it's supposed to spray on a little easier, and it also lasts 2 years instead of 1. And so I'm going to give that a shot. So I got this gallon bucket. I don't think I'm going to use anywhere near that. I might probably only use like maybe a quart of this stuff is what I'm guessing, but we'll see. So I got a gallon of that, and then I went ahead and bought this fancy spray gun. It's a wool wax spray gun, especially formulated for this purpose. It even says that it is often used with fluid film and wool wax products, which are undercoating products. And anyway, so yeah, you get this fancy gun, which I'm going to run off my air compressor. It comes with 2 of these long flexible nozzles, which would be great for getting into like you know, any hidden spots underneath skid plates, chassis rails, things like that, behind fender liners. And then it does also have an adjustable spray nozzle, so that's kind of cool. And then it has 3 different jugs that you can connect to the bottom of the gun. And then for just protection equipment, obviously I've got gloves. I'm wearing my mechanic suit here, and I've got a respirator and goggles. I'll link to all this stuff in the description, of course. I'm not super looking forward to laying on the ground and spraying this stuff up above me. I'm hoping it kind of clings really nicely to the vehicle and doesn't all drip on me. That would not be the funnest thing in the world, but I've never done this before, so it's going to be a learning process. Let's go. So here's what the Surface Shield looks like. You can see the consistency there. It's not super thick, but that's good. It should flow nicely through the gun. The one thing I'm noticing that I don't have is something to clean up the gun with when I'm done. Now, the wool wax instructions say paint thinner or even just water. Fill up a jug with that and run it through the gun. But the Surface Shield says easy cleanup with a solvent or a mineral spirit. So I don't have those on hand. So I think I'll probably, when I'm done, run and get those. But I wanted to put that little disclaimer in the start of the video in case you want to go ahead and get like paint thinner on hand before you start this job, unlike me, so that you'll be able to clean the gun out as well as clean any spots off of the vehicle if you make a mistake. Okay, one other thing I didn't realize until after I'd already poured all this Surface Shield in here and put the top on is, of course, I got to have a way to connect my air compressor on there with the quick disconnect. So don't forget, you're going to need this. You're going to need some kind of chuck to go from the threaded mail handle on the bottom of the gun to your quick disconnect on your air compressor hose. So that's what we got going in here. All right, you guys, I'm all done. I'm just gonna point out some things for you that might make this job a little easier. As you can see here, everything's still wet. And pleasantly, it doesn't really drip on you. Like once it sticks onto the car, it doesn't really drip off. So that's really nice. There's two different wands that come with the gun. One of them has a 360-degree flow, and I started with that. And what I did is I just went into places with like holes. Any place with like a hole in the chassis. I can't really see, it's dark in there, but like right here, I would take that wand and send it in as far as it could go, and then spray all throughout the chassis and anywhere that I can get to. So I started off with the 360 spray nozzle, and then I went to the regular spray nozzle and just coat everything. So as you can see, all along this cross member, it's all wet right there. The only places that I really avoided are one up front, like the radiator, condenser, oil cooler, all that area. Didn't want to get it on there, and then on the brake rotors. Everything else I've pretty much covered. Even if it was like aluminum or plastic, I still gave it some of a coating just because there's still metal fasteners going into those things that I didn't want to rust. The rock sliders, that's an area, this mount right here is something that likes to rust. So coated up all this frame rail. Okay, here's the rear suspension. This is really where I focused my efforts because that's where most of the damage is happening. Sorry about the video. It's like, of course, it's like sunset right now, so the sun is really harsh right now and pointing right at me. So yeah, got all the springs, hoping to arrest this rust right here. What else can I tell you about this? You didn't need to thin it. I didn't need to thin it to get it to spray out of the gun. It's like designed to spray this kind of stuff. But I didn't really love the nozzles that came with the gun. They were kind of finicky. You have to have them almost all the way unscrewed out of the gun for it to get a good flow. So as you can see, I've got the back end jacked up just to give me some more room under there to get to everything. I completely got inside all the wheel wells. Air compressor I had at about 90 to 100 psi, and yeah, that's really about it. Something else that was annoying is the overspray will get on your goggles, so then you won't be able to see. So periodically you have to stop to clean off your goggles. But other than that, job's done. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if this helps. I think it will, because we don't really get a ton of snow and there's not a lot of salt here in northern Arizona, just a little bit on a few roads. So I think this is really going to help me, and I wish I had done it sooner. And now I've got to, like I said, I used about 1.5 bottles of the product, and now I got to run some water through the gun and then maybe some paint thinner. Hey, so now it's been like actually more like 3 weeks. I'm underneath the car, and I just want to point out, stuff is still wet. Like, I guess it just never really goes away. I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but maybe I was thinking it would like dry, because I believe fluid film does dry, but maybe this is better and it just stays oily. Because if it dries, you know, I wonder if moisture does get behind it, it almost traps it in there and accelerates rust. So I'm not really sure that this is a problem. It's just when you're wrenching on your vehicle, you're going to get really oily doing anything on your car. So that is a trade-off that I just wanted to point out. Thanks for watching.